Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Go Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 2011280L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and the NBA Finals resumes tonight. It resumes tonight in Dallas. Celtics lead the series 2-0. And really, the big story of this series is, for me, has been the second best players of both teams. Jaylen Brown, he's been great. I mean, he had a good game one. He scored over 20 points in both games. And the key to him, too, and then the biggest thing is, and why I think he's the Finals MVP right now, is he made the game-clinching play in Game 2. And then on the other end, you got Kyrie Irving. Who has been absolutely terrible in this series. Luka Doncic is averaging over 30 points a game. He's doing everything he can. Kyrie Irving has been absolutely terrible. 0 for 8 from three-point range. 0 for 8. It's averaged only 14 points a game. He's lost his last 12 games to the Celtics. Kyrie Irving has just been terrible in the series. I think that's been the difference so far. The play of the second best player on each team. Jaylen Brown, you could maybe even argue he's the best player on the Celtics, and he should obviously be an All-NBA player. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. How you put a guy like Devontae as a bonus, an All-NBA player, not him, I think is absolutely absurd. That's another.
Devontae had an awesome year.
Oh, stop.
I know we stink.
I know, but
But
come
we
on.
know
Now,
else around him.
It's Aaron Fox. It's Aaron Fox.
Yes. The one thing I say about Sabonis, he does not usually show up in the fourth quarter. He likes to be a little bit passive.
To me, that's a problem. He's a good player, but he shouldn't be an All-NBA player. But let's get back to the finals. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is that the second best players of both teams. One has been great, one has not been good, and I think that's the biggest reason why the Celtics are up 2-0.
Yeah, the Celtics, they've taken care of business. Their defense has been unbelievable. Kyrie Irving really looked like being black in Boston. Maybe was trying to do a little bit too much. Maybe going back home. It's gonna help him out of it. But yeah, like for the Celtics, it's been kind of because like Tatum has not shot the ball well, but he's been a really good facilitator, and it's like Drew Holiday's been unbelievable. Like you could see, I know Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, like those two guys deserve to win like the Finals MVP. One of those, and Drew Holiday as well in the defense end. Kristaps Porzingis, I know he's questionable tonight, but the impact that he made, as well shooting the basketball. So, and yeah, Dallas has really struggled, offensively. They've turned the ball over a lot. Game 2, they missed 8 free throws. They lost by 7. That was kind of different.
Yeah, that was big. That was big. That's something that's not being talked about a lot. That was big.
Yeah, it was. That was a huge difference in the ball game Sunday night. So yeah, Celtics have really looked good. And for the Dallas too, I think Game 2 is a game where you really had to win because Boston didn't shoot well, they didn't play great, and you still lost the game. So it's a tough one Sunday for Dallas. But yeah, maybe going home now. But the Celtics are I had Mavs in 7. I was definitely wrong. The impact of Porzingis has really made a big difference. And Dallas right now, they might get back to Boston for Game 5, but I don't see that series going much further than that.
Now, speaking of Porzingis, I'm glad you brought that up. He is questionable for Game 3. Now, if he can't play, like say he can't play in like the 2 games in Dallas, how big of a deal would that be? I think it'd be a pretty big deal because he played so well in game one. And that would hurt the Celtics depth. And role players play better at home than they do on the road. I expect Kyrie Irving to be much better than he was in Boston. I expect PJ Washington to be better. I expect Derek Jones and Daniel Gafford to be better in Dallas. And I don't expect Drew Holiday and Derek White to play as well in Dallas. So I do think this will be a big deal if Kristaps Porzingis can't play if he's out for multiple games in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if the Celtics play a little bit more small ball with Tatum at the 5 to continue to spread out Dallas's defense so that they can play 5 out. Because I know they got Luke Cornett, but he's not a 3-point shooter, so that would kind of change your offensive philosophy a bit. It'll be interesting what Joe Mazzulla does with the game plan if he can't go. But yeah, like if Tatum can't go and they don't play a little bit more small ball with Tatum, that's going to help Dallas because of they're going to be able to get some more rim protection with a Luke Cornett down low instead of a Jason Tatum where their big guys are pulled out and have to guard Jason Tatum from the 3-point line.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens there if Porzingis goes or not. But we'll start with the Celtics, and we'll talk about what the Celtics got to do to close out the series. And for me, Jaylen Brown's got to keep playing the way he's been playing. Jaylen Brown's just got to keep playing the way he is. Because let me tell you, if he just keeps playing the way he is, they may not even need Jason Tatum to be great to win this series. Because right now, to me, Jaylen Brown is definitely the Finals MVP. He's averaging over 20 points a game in the Finals. Had the big, most importantly, he had the big shot. He made the big play to clinch game 2. So if Jaylen Brown continues to play the way that he is, I think the Celtics are definitely going to close. I think there's a good chance they win one of these 2 games in Dallas and close it out Monday night in Boston. Number 2, continue to contain Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving has struggled, but the Celtics have played great defense on him. Just continue to contain Kyrie Irving. They've done an outstanding job containing Kyrie. And like I said, opening the show, the biggest difference in the series is the play of Kyrie. I think the biggest difference in the series is the play of the second best players of both teams, the play of Jaylen Brown, the play of Kyrie Irving. And for the Celtics, they continue to contain Kyrie Irving. They have an excellent chance to win. And then just continue to have the role players step up. You saw Porzingis in game 1. You saw Drew Holiday in game 2. If Brown continues to play the way he is, they continue to contain Kyrie and continue to have role players step up, there's no way the Celtics lose this series.
Yeah, number 1 for me is Boston continues to space the floor with the big guys shooting basketball. Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, if he can play tonight, and that's pulling the big guys away from the basket. And Boston in this series, when they shooting at the rim, they're 34 for 41 in the series. So 83% around the rim. We've talked about Dallas's rim protection and how good it's been throughout the playoffs, but in this series, because Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford got to guard, the Al Horfords of the world, they got to guard up the top, and that's just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, whoever's got the ball, Drew Holiday up top, they're exposing Luka and Kyrie defensively, and they're just getting whatever they want at the basket. So for Boston, they got to continue doing that. Number 2 is Drew Holiday, the impact that he's had on both ends of the floor this series. Milwaukee giving this guy up. I don't think they thought this was going to be. They didn't think this was the worst spot for Milwaukee for Drew Holiday to end up. He's been unbelievable this series. Just on both ends, the way he's guarded, the way he shot the basketball. He's 11 for 14 in game 2. And then number 3, same with you with Kyrie. Continue to kind of they keep him kind of quiet because and make the other Dallas guys the other role guys beat you. They really haven't done that so far this series, and Luka can't do it all by himself. So if you can continue to contain Kyrie, continue to kind of make him struggle, especially from beyond the 3-point line, Boston's in really great shape to win this series.
And Boston's game plan has been good so far in terms of containing the other guys. They really haven't doubled Luka. They've let Luka get his points, but they've made the other guy step up, and they really haven't. They really haven't, especially Kyrie Irving, and they really haven't. And this leads me to my next point. This leads me to what the Mavs got to do to get back in the series. And number 1, Kyrie Irving needs to be much better than he's been. I don't know if the Celtics are in his head. He's lost 12 straight. He's just been he has those first 2 games. He definitely didn't play like the player that was the guy. He didn't play like the guy that he was in the conference finals. He definitely did it. He needs to get back to what he was in the conference finals. He needs to be better because if he's playing the way he is, the Mavs are done in 5. The Mavs are losing the series in 5 games. If he continues to play the way he has these first 2 games, the Mavs are losing this in 5. So Kyrie has definitely got to step up. Number 2 for them, The role players, they need the role guys to step up. Need their role players to step up. PJ Washington, he's decent in game 2, but he's got to have like a 20-point game. Daniel Gafford, he's got to step up. Derek Jones Jr. Those guys have to step up if the Mavericks want to get back in the series and want a chance to come back and win the series. And number 3, they need to shoot the 3-point. They need to shoot better from 3-point range. They need to shoot better from 3-point range. This is the NBA in 2024. You cannot win a championship or an NBA final series shooting under 30% from 3-point range. This team has got to shoot the ball better from 3-point range if they want to get back in this series. So 3 things for me: Kyrie stepping up, role players stepping up, and got to shoot the ball better from 3-point range.
Yeah, my first Dallas point was same as yours with Kyrie. He's got to be better on both ends. And in this series, shooting wise, he's 13 for 37, 0 for 8 from 3. And that's not going to cut it for your number 2 player. And then also, too, he's been non-existent on the defensive end. So he's not giving you anything offensively. And defensively, he's been a sieve. So that's, that's hurting you both ends. So he's got to play a lot better. And same number 2 point as well. Who else steps up for Luka? They got to knock down shots. And because Boston's just too good, they got too many guys. We've seen it. Derek White, Drew Holiday. It's like, again, Tatum's not even playing his best. He's not even shooting the basketball that great, but he's been a great facilitator. He's doing everything else well. And in game, they were 2 for 17 from 3, not including Luka. Their night from 3. So they have to shoot the basketball better. And then number 3 for me is they got to do the little stuff better. The 3-throw shooting, you missed 8 the other night. And then the first 2 games, you got 26 turnovers. That's just way too much. I know Boston's a bigger team. They can switch. They can kind of give you, they can give you some issues. And it felt like every time they've gotten within striking distance, they just lose their composure and they have a couple straight bad series, a couple of turnovers. So for Dallas, they got to clean some things up in the little stuff and hopefully try to find a way to get back to Boston 2-2, but that's going to be pretty impossible. The Celtics are playing right now.
Yeah, Celtics are just playing really, really well. Celtics are playing team basketball. They're playing really well. They're playing like the team they've been all season long. They've been the best team. They don't have a top 5 player in the game. Tatum has proven these first couple of games that right now he's not a top 5 player, top 10 player, not a top 5 player. But, and I think the stupidest argument is who's better, Brown or Tatum. Who cares? You're up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. I don't want to hear about which player is better right now. Who cares? I think it's Tatum. Personally, I think it's Tatum. But I think it's stupid. It's a stupid argument. It's stupid to argue which individual player is better when you're up 2-0 in a series. You're halfway to an NBA championship. I think it's a silly argument. I think it's Tatum, but hey, you could argue Brown. But who cares? Because they're 2 wins away from an NBA championship. But yeah, the Celtics have just they've played the way they played all year as the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, they have, the Tatum Brown point. I've never got it. Like even the point after Brown won the MVP. Oh, is Jason Tatum was he not happy for Jaylen Brown after the win?
Stop it! Like, he's happy. He's happy. He's going to the NBA Finals again.
Yeah. I never understood that argument either. Like, who cares? They're 2 wins away. They don't care about that. You see it. Like Tatum's not, Tatum's not trying to force it himself, and he's been really, really good in the other stuff right now and doing the other things besides shooting. So that already makes no sense. And the Celtics they played great and they've been great on the road all year. So set the Celtics, especially they got Porzingis to get tough out here for Dallas.
Yeah, my prediction now. I said Mavs. I did say Mavs in 6. I can't pick them because I just cannot trust Kyrie because if the Mavs are going to win the series. They're gonna have to win a game in Boston. They're gonna have to win a game in Boston. And I don't trust Kyrie. I don't think Kyrie's winning a game in Boston. I don't think Kyrie's having a good game in Boston. I think he could play well in Dallas against the Celtics. I just don't think he's gonna have a good game in Boston. I just can't trust Kyrie Irving. And I said earlier, the better duo was Kyrie and Luka. I gotta say Tatum and Brown now. Because I think right now Jaylen Brown is clearly a better player than Kyrie Irving. I'll take Jaylen Brown right now over Kyrie Irving. And that's why I'm taking the Celtics. I'm switching. I'm taking the Celtics. I do think the Mavs I actually think they get 2 here because I think they get back to the series because of Porzingis being out. But I think the Celtics win game 5 and I think they close it out in game 6. That's why I'm going Celtics in 6. I don't think Kyrie's going to win a game in Boston. I just can't trust Kyrie to have a good game in Boston. And then that's why and Kyrie has to have a good game in Boston for them to win this series. I don't think it's going to happen. That's why I'm changing and I'm going with the Celtics in 6.
I'm going Boston in 5. I can
see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I think, because I just think right now the way Boston's playing, they're going to steal, Dallas will get 1 here at home. I don't think they're going to get swept. But I think, you get maybe something out of Porzingis a little bit tonight. or even in game 4. And I just think the way Brown's been playing, Derek White, Drew Holiday, yeah, maybe Drew Holiday doesn't shoot 11 for 14 with 28 points tonight, but I still think he gives you a really good impact on the defensive end. And I think he knocks down a couple shots for him. And I think the Celtics they're the better all around team. And I think they close this thing out in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, Luke is obviously the best player on the floor in the series without question. But yeah, Celtics definitely the better overall team. If you're drafting a team, you're taking Luke. You're definitely taking Luka first. But then, like I said last week, I thought you would maybe take Kyrie third. No, you're taking Tatum and Brown before you take Kyrie. Then you take Kyrie. Then you're taking 4 or 5. You're taking about at least 3 Celtics after that. So they're clearly the better team. And I hate to change my prediction, as I said, Mavs in 6 last week, but I got to go with the Celtics. I'm giving the Mavs 2 games, but I got to go. I think they're going to get back into the series. But I got to go Celtics to win this thing. I got to go with the Celtics now to win their 18th championship. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But unfortunately, we have some sad news in the NBA as Jerry West, a legend, a 14-time All-Star, 8-time NBA champion, won 1 championship as a player, passed away today. And it's a sad day for the NBA. His logo was on the that was his logo. That was Jerry West's logo. Was on the NBA was the NBA logo. So it's just so sad. So sad that Jerry West is gone. Awesome executive. Was a part of the Showtime Lakers. Was a part of the beginning of Kobe and Shaq. Was a part of the Warrior dynasty. So many great teams Jerry was a part of. And early in his career, he was a part of a lot of great Laker teams in the 60s that couldn't get over the hump. They finally did in 72 when they beat the Knicks in the NBA Finals. But, just a very, very sad day to lose Jerry West.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's one of the best all time. Before even the 3-point line, I think there was a series, what was it, 1965 playoff series in like 6 games. He averaged over like 46 points a game, without a 3-point line, which is unbelievable. I wish it was true too, because I've always been somebody too that like hates, I didn't matter. I very competitive, hated. I've always heard too, like he's somebody that he'd much rather, or he was much angry or upset after he lost the game more than happy after a win. Like you don't always see that nowadays. So I always like those like really highly competitive guys. But yeah, he's got the logo. He's Mr. Clutch. Unbelievable thing. He won a national championship too with West Virginia back in '59. So unbelievable career. He's definitely definitely a sad day for the NBA, especially too, just, a couple weeks ago too, you lost Bill Walton, another, amazing career, obviously broadcaster as well. So yeah, last month or so, lost 2 NBA legends, and, over a year ago too, we lost, Bill Russell. So a lot of those older guys, starting to, not be around anymore. Sad.
Yeah, it's sad, but we'll always remember the career of Jerry West. But we will move on to UConn and Dan Hurley, and there was a scare on Thursday when Hurley was interested in going to the Lakers. There was definitely a scare, but you see the offer the Lakers gave him, and it was they lowballed him. 6 years, 7. I thought he was getting at least $100 million. I thought he was getting at least $100 million. I thought his salary was going to be $15 million a year, up in the Pop and up in the Popovich and Steve Kerr range. I thought he was getting that, but ultimately didn't. He only got $11 million a year. And let me tell you, the next contract UConn's going to be very close to that. And Dan Hurley stays with the Huskies to try to go for a 3rd national title.
Yeah, to think $70 million was going to get an East Coast guy to pack his bags and move 2,000 miles away was pretty crazy on the Lakers' part. But that's the Lakers have kind of been a joke the last couple of years. That front office, it's not been good. But yeah, they came out of nowhere. Like, after 2 months, like now this news broke kind of on Thursday morning. But yeah, it's great for UConn. Again, Hurley's going to go to the NBA at some point. I know Thibodeau just signed a 3-year deal. I know he's like, 67? He's going to be Hurley's going to be the next Knicks coach. Whenever Thibodeau is done, he's going to be the next Knicks coach.
I could see that happening. I could see it happening because it's just, him and the Knicks just fit. East Coast, the Garden. He has success in the Garden, coaching UConn. It makes too much sense for him to be the next Knicks coach.
Yeah, I think he said that too in the they asked him on the Barstool part of my take. They asked him like, "What's your dream job?" And he's like, "The New York Knicks." You know, if it wasn't UConn, what is it? And he said the Knicks. So the Knicks would be pretty dumb not to make him the first call whenever Tom Thibodeau, decides to retire, move on. So he's gonna go with the NBA at some point. But yeah, love to have him around now. And yeah, probably gonna announce a new contract tomorrow. I know Monday night him and the staff went already down to Orlando to go to recruit a camp. So think they come back tomorrow. So that's probably when the new contract will be announced. That's my thinking. But yeah, awesome to have him. It was definitely a little bit of scare, but when I saw the 70 million was very surprised that's all that offer was.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Lakers in a little bit, but then we'll talk about first. Was this the right decision for him? I think it was. I think it absolutely was the right decision because you're an East Coast guy. You're loved here. His wife, I think his wife was a big part. Andrea was a big part of this decision. His wife was a big part of this. It was a big part of it. She grew up in New Jersey. She grew up on the East Coast. His father coached for 40 years at St. Anthony's. He grew up on the East Coast. He's a Jersey guy. The Hurleys are East Coast people. And I think this is the right now. He's coaching at a place where he's loved. If he went to LA, he'd be a guy who'd have to prove himself in the NBA. I don't know if his style would have worked with LeBron and AD because pretty much I don't think he could do he definitely can't do what he does in college with LeBron and AD at all. So I think this is the right decision for him. He's got a chance to make he has to do something special, win 3 straight national championships at UConn. He's done an outstanding job at UConn. So I think this is definitely the right decision for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about his wife being huge in the decision too. They didn't want to leave Rhode Island to come to Connecticut. Like
that's crazy. That's crazy. They didn't want to leave URI to come to you. But let's not forget, UConn was a disaster.
It was
when Hurley got here. Ali, we all know what Ali did to that program. UConn was an absolute disaster. And Calhoun had to tell him to get his head out of his rear end when he got here.
Yeah, that was like the first day. Yeah, he walked in. Good old Calhoun. Really gave it to him early. And he's really turned this thing around. And there's no doubt that this is the right decision for him. Because look, he can go to LA. Look, I think he understands that like he can't go into LA being the way he is. Like he can't go screaming at LeBron. That video on game day where they're, Isaiah Whaley ran those stairs, like champions run those, like, you can't be yelling at LeBron to do that. So I think he would know how to, adapt to the NBA game. But to go to LA, you have LeBron for 2 more years. You have AD for, I think 2 or 3 more years as well. Then you got to rebuild. There's not much of that roster. Like in 2 years, you're not going to have any control over that roster. You have the Bronny circus going on. If they draft him, then you got to worry about that. So, and if LeBron's not happy with you, you could be out of a job in a year. The Lakers have gone 7 coaches the last 15 years.
Oh, we'll get to we'll get to that. We will get to that.
Yeah. So it's absolutely the right move for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely the right move for him.
Definitely the right move for him. East Coast guy, coach on the East Coast. Definitely at this point, it's definitely the right decision for him. But now we'll get to the Lakers side of this. And what does this say about the Lakers organization? And it shows you that the Lakers organization isn't close to what it was in the Shaq and Kobe days. It even close to what it was in the Kobe Gasol years when they won those two championships. The Lakers are very, 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 very lucky LeBron James chose them. Because there's no way that organization is winning a championship if LeBron doesn't choose them. Because the only reason why, AD wanted to come to the Lakers, what AD wanted to come was because LeBron was there. They are so lucky LeBron chose them. Because you talked about the coaches. Mike Brown, Mike D'Antoni, Byron Scott, Luke Walton, Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham. All 7 of these coaches, or was it 6 or 7 of these coaches since Phil Jackson's left? It's I think 6 coaches. They did not. Okay. 6 coaches since Phil Jackson has left. Phil Jackson retired. They have not lasted more than 3 years. And they sold, Pelinka and Jeannie Buss sold a plan. This is a plan. We're going to have a long-term plan in place. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Hurley knew it was nonsense. The offer was a lowball offer, and they know, and he doesn't trust he doesn't trust Pelinka or Jeannie Buss that they were going to stick with him for more than 3 years. So the problem is the Laker organization, they don't stick with coaches. They're very lucky that LeBron chose them, because if they didn't, there's no way this team would have ever won an NBA championship. It's crazy to think they won an NBA championship in 2020, but that's because LeBron chose them.
Yeah, it is. And As a Kings fan, I love to see the turmoil of the Lakers. They deserve as much as anybody.
Yeah, they gave Kings fans a lot of pain in the early 2000s.
Yeah, yes, they did. Yeah, them and David Stern. Lot of pain.
Oh yeah, we know we don't need to get into
Yeah,
that one in 2002, the
yeah,
conference finals.
yeah. Even though glad he doesn't tip that ball out there at the end of the game. Game 4 to Ron Artest, he grabs a rebound, straight one. So
Yeah,
he eats that game winner. But yeah, so the Lakers have been just an absolute disaster. They've been a mess. Yeah, they're lucky LeBron's there. And yeah, because like, what's the plan after LeBron and AD? They don't have a
there's
draft.
no
They have a
plan.
draft pick this year. Yeah, they
There's
don't
no
have one in
plan.
2025.
There's no plan. There's no
So
plan.
yeah, yeah. So that's the problem. Pelinka, yeah, he last year had a nice couple off auditions at the trade deadline. What do you do this year? Like he
Nothing.
hasn't been great of late. So yeah, good luck. Like good luck trying to really get a new coach in here. Yeah, have fun with JJ Redick, guy that's never coached before. Yeah, him and LeBron will butt heads probably at some
Of
point.
course, of course,
So yeah,
of course he will.
yeah. So
But
I
for how
this
great
Lakers,
for how great LeBron has been, the organization that worked out the best for him was the Heat because he had a coach where we had to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this one's public, but when he used to Cleveland with Mike Brown there, something ended up I don't know if it's public, so I don't know if I won't tell it in the air. Because I know one of the assistant coaches from that team so I could tell you out there. I don't know if it's public or not, so
Gotcha.
I can tell you off the air. But like he kinda, some family stuff tried to get Mike Brown out of Cleveland. But But yeah, like it's so LeBron. Yeah, LeBron. Pat Riley made the great choice to keep Spolstra. But yeah, LeBron. Yeah, whenever LeBron goes, this Western Conference not getting any easier. Like the Rockets, they got a number 3 pick. They're gonna get better. Like Warriors are getting aged, but Timberwolves, OKC's young. So this Western Conference not getting easier anytime soon. So the Lakers are gonna find themselves in a world of hurt. They can't figure out this plan quickly. And bringing a guy like JJ Redick, who's never coached a game in his life, I don't think he's gonna help you out that much. So, do you want to go that direction? Go ahead. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's sad to say this on a day that Jerry West passed away. That was the best
Mm.
Lakers organization, but they haven't been good. It's just not been a good. They went 7 years without making the playoffs in the NBA. 7 years before the years in between that I think it might have been it's 7 years, 6 years, 6 years without making the playoffs, without making the postseason.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think they burned through like three coaches. Yeah, Mike D'Antoni, Byron Scott, and Luke Walton in that time. It's just yeah. This just says that the Laker organization. We got to stop saying these are the Lakers. These are the Lakers.
Mm.
The Lakers haven't been the Lakers since 2010 or 2011. I only won that championship.
Yeah.
I only get that championship, but they can thank LeBron James for that championship.
Yeah, they can. It's not an appealing job right now. I know it's LA, it's the Lakers, but like it's not that appealing because there's no plan. Like there's a lot more other appealing jobs right now in the NBA. Like again, and Hurley, it wasn't gonna be Hurley's only offer in the NBA. We saw even Kevin Ollie turn down the Lakers, after he won a national championship in 15. Like, it's not as attractive as it once was for him. So yeah, for them, it's the Lakers, yeah, they're a mess and they better figure it out. But the way things are going right now, it doesn't really seem like that's gonna be happening anytime soon.
No. It was an embarrassing day for the Lakers on Monday. Just an embarrassing day for that organization on Monday when Hurley decided to go back to college and with NIL and the transfer portal and everything, decided to go back to college instead of coaching the Lakers. But going back to the UConn point, with Hurley staying, is UConn the clear favorite to three-peat? I think they are. Even with Kiraben coming back, I think they are.
Yeah, it's right now. They're going to be in the top 3 in the AP poll, when that comes out in October. Then Kansas and Bama are in Houston, like the top 4 teams going in. To me right now with those rosters, it's going to be very tough. It's something that hasn't been done since the Joe Wooden UCLA teams, when they won 8 straight.
Yeah. John Wooden.
Yeah, so it's something that's, very, very tough to do. But yeah, with Dan Hurley, like even Kiraben, last off season said prize are even harder than they were, After they won the national championship, it's even harder. They've gotten even harder last year. So I assume they're even harder this year.
Yeah, because the standard that's set.
Yeah.
It's a very high bar that Dan Hurley sets. Yeah, I can't see that. The thing is they won back-to-back titles, and no one has came within double digits of them. So they got, even though they only have one starter returning, I think they got to be the favorite.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they figured out how to navigate through this portal, through this new era perfectly, and nobody else has been able to master it either. So until somebody else masters it, yeah, they're gonna continue to be one of the favorites as long as they get the players. And I don't think that's gonna be an issue as long as Dan Hurley's on the sidelines, because I do think what he's done is really, and the type of kids that he gets fits him perfectly. And that's why a lot of these guys, I think, stay too, and they don't transfer out.
Now, you talk about the transfer portal, you talk about NIL, and you don't think UConn's going to lose players. Here's where I disagree with you. This leads me to my next point. Should UConn, because they were close to losing Dan Hurley. Let's be honest. They were close to losing Dan Hurley. Should UConn leave the Big East and get into one of the top conferences, which means, yeah, Big East is one of the top conferences in terms of basketball, but there's no football. So that means there's no football money coming in. And I think eventually with this new NIL stuff going on, I don't know if UConn's going to have the money to pay some of these great players. I think these teams like these Alabamas and these Dukes and North Carolinas in the ACC and the SEC are going to have more money to pay players to come there. You saw it with Cooper Flagg. It was probably NIL. The reason Cooper Flagg went to Duke and not UConn is NIL. Now, I think he's making a mistake, not playing for Dan Hurley, but it was NIL. I do think the NIL is going to play a factor. And I do think these are two things I think UConn is going to have to do for Hurley to be there for the next, 20, 25 years. Number one, they're going to have to obviously give him an extension, which they're going to give him. And number two, I hate to say this. They got to leave the Big East. Because eventually, I don't think Dan Hurley, as great as Dan Hurley is as a recruiter with the NIL, I don't think Dan Hurley is going to – I don't think UConn is going to have the NIL money that other schools are going to have. And I don't think Dan Hurley is going to have the players. And say a Knicks or a Nets job opens up in the next 4 or 5 years, and UConn does not make a national championship game, and I think he goes. So I think to lock Hurley up long term, you obviously have to pay him. You have to give him the extension now. And I think, and I hate to say this because I love going to the Big East tournament, I think they got to leave the Big East.
I don't think that's necessary.
Really?
I think Dan Hurley wants to coach the NBA. Like, I don't think it matters how much you pay him. I think he's gonna at some point leave, go to the NBA.
I think once Hurley leaves, UConn's not gonna be the same at all because of the NIL thing.
Their NIL's in a very good spot. It is. I do know that. I know it's in a very good spot. I think it's top 5, top 10. Again, they're running it very, very well. They're doing a very good job. They're doing, like, even football. I don't know where they're getting the influx of football money, but they got some really good kids out of the portal. That they had like a top 40 portal class. Like,
oh wow!
So there's money coming in, and look, the big all right, Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner. He only cares about basketball. He used to work in the NBA office. I know. Adam Silver signed a contract through the end of the decade. He wants to become the next NBA commissioner. He wanted Gonzaga and UConn in the Big 12 because he only cares about basketball. He wants to show that to the NBA. None of the Big 12 presidents wanted UConn or Gonzaga in the conference. So you're not getting there.
No football. They're terrible football schools.
Yeah.
UConn's terrible school, and Gonzaga's no football.
Yeah, they disbanded, I think, 98. Gonzaga disbanded it. ACC, to me, this is why also UConn should have the Big East. The ACC is going to Florida State, they're trying to get out of the grant of rights that they've signed through 2036. Last update I saw, the lawyers feel confident that they can find a loophole out of this thing. When that happens, there's going to be several other ACC schools that are going to follow suit and leave the ACC. That's when Syracuse, Pitt, BC, I don't think they should be let in, but like the old Big East schools, maybe at Duke, are going to try to get their way into the Big East. And I think the Big East doesn't Big East doesn't sponsor football, but I think there'll be an East Coast football league. Yeah, it won't be the SEC or Big Ten, but I think because you got a Syracuse, you got a Pitt, UConn, maybe BC, couple of those, Duke maybe's in it, Virginia Tech, whatever AC schools can't find a new conference, they they go there. Yeah, so that's why I think UConn's going to be. Yeah, is it great this being the Big East with no football money? No, but I think it's because I think if you go to the Big 12, it's going to hurt basketball a little bit. It just is because they do so. I know they're kind of national. They've gotten national kids, recruits, but like a big part of the thing is getting the New York and New Jersey kids to play at the Garden in the middle of March.
That's a good point. And here's another thing why you're convincing me why they probably should stay in it is that the New York, New Jersey, owning the East Coast. I think that's the biggest thing is owning the East Coast. And yeah, if they're in, it doesn't matter if the Big East is, the conference keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and UConn, is dominating the conference. In March Madness, they could still win a championship. So yeah, you're convincing me of them staying because of the recruiting base and Hurley being, and obviously Hurley being the East Coast guy.
Yeah, and again with Hurley being here, again, let's say he's here for another 6-7 years. Maybe they win another title or so. It's going to be one of the most coveted jobs when he leaves. Like, I don't know if he's gone to, I don't know if there's going to be a point where I don't think that whole staff's going to be here the rest of the time here. They'll all probably get head coaching jobs at some point, but I think it'll be a highly coveted job. I don't know who that guy will be, but they will. It's not going to turn into the Kevin Ollie situation this time. I'd be very surprised. They're going to be in a great spot. So I don't worry about the guy after Hurley. I think we're going to be okay as long as you're in the Big East. So you look at Syracuse, you look at Pitt, those teams are not the same anymore. They're just not. And look, hopefully Nova gets their act together. Patino with St. John's is starting to get that program going. Hopefully Cooley can turn around at Georgetown. I liked the DePaul hire with Chris Holtman. I don't think they're going to be a basement dweller as bad as they've been. Shaka, Marquette, Creighton with McDermott, like the leagues could be better. But I still think that, it's in a decent shape. UConn's running the conference right now. And, I think it's the best spot for him because, you want football in the Big 12, great. But who are they beating? The Big 12.
Nobody.
In the Big 12, it's going to be the best. To me, it's going to be the most competitive conference because none of those schools, maybe title contenders, but they're all between 50 and top 40 programs. Like that conference every week is going to feel like the NFL where there's one-score games every single week. So you're not beating any of those teams. Kansas State to Kansas 5 years ago. So, and you're not, in basketball-wise, you're not getting a home Kansas because there'll be 19 teams. Yeah. So the Big East is the best spot for UConn.
All right, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future with UConn. But it was a great day on Monday for UConn with Dan Hurley staying. So we got the best rivalry in baseball coming up this weekend. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEG's Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEG's Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
So for the first time this year, the Yankees and Red Sox go at it this weekend at Fenway Park. And I think this series, I think the way the Yankees are playing, I know they lost 2 out of 3 of the Dodgers, but all 3 of those games they didn't have Juan Soto. So I think with the way they look at the matchups this weekend, you got Gill against Griswold, Rodon against Bello, and Crawford against Stroman. I think the Yankees are winning 2 out of 3 here. I would be very surprised the Yankees don't win 2 out of 3. They're clearly better than the Red Sox. They're clearly they're one of the best teams in baseball. You saw what they've done in Kansas City this week. Kansas City was playing really well, and they've dominated Kansas City. This team right now has very few holes. Red Sox, they got holes. I mean, they're playing up better than people thought, but they got holes in their lineup. They got holes in their and they got some holes in the back end of the rotation. The Yankees, they really don't have holes anywhere with the way they've been playing right now. And I think this is definitely the Yankees win the series. They take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox.
Yeah, they absolutely should win 2 out of 3. You saw this weekend without Juan Soto that how much he impacts that lineup big time. It's definitely a tough one this weekend to lose 2 out of 3 Dodgers. But yeah, this is a weekend series. Like they've just pounded a pretty good Royals team. Who's been playing pretty good baseball the last 2 nights. They played pretty well. So yeah, they should take 2 out of 3. The way Heels pitching against Chris Wall, you should win that one. Rodon pitched really well. So yeah, the way these Yankee teams playing, they should absolutely take 2 out of 3 from this Boston team that's really banged up. Got a lot of young guys that are trying to prove themselves, but young Boston team that they hopefully should take care of business against this weekend.
Yeah. If this Yankee team, they got a big series in the middle of the week against the Orioles at home. They shouldn't be losing the series to the Red Sox. This should be a weekend where they take care of business, take 2 out of 3, stay in first place, and get ready to face the Orioles next week.
Yeah, they should. It's a big one. You already lost 3 out of 4 to Baltimore, so yeah, take care of Vince Boston this weekend, and then go get back home and take on a good Orioles team. That you got to win that series. So you got to take hopefully 2 out of 3 and kind of create some separation there between the two of you. So don't mess around this weekend, and next weekend so Baltimore, take care of business.
Absolutely. So we'll look at the Red Sox angle of this right now. I think they're 35 and 33 I think they're still in third place. I think they're 35 and 33, a couple games under 500. They are only, I think, 2 games out of the wild card in the American League. So, right, 33 and 34. 33 and 34. Tie. I mean, they're jumbled up with the Blue Jays and the Rays in the AL East, and they're only 2 games out of the wild card. But the big question as we talk about the Red Sox is this team going to be in it? Is this team going to be in it by the trade deadline? And I'm going to say no. I don't think they get hit. Their pitching has slipped. Even though Talk has had a great year, their pitching has slipped up. I'm going to say no. I don't think this Red Sox team is going to be in it by the end of by the trade deadline. I don't think they're going to be in it. And this is Chaim Bloom's. A lot of this is not on Breslow. This is Chaim Bloom's roster that he put together. But I don't think the Red Sox are going to be in it at the trade deadline.
I think Boston will, because there's only 11 teams right now in baseball that are over 500, and Boston's still hovering right around that line. And especially in the National League, you might see a team with under 500 make a wild card at this point. It's very possible. So I think Boston could stay in this thing. Because I don't know who's taking off. Toronto sounds like they might sell some pieces. Twins will sell right around there. Texas is going to get healthy, but if Boston can get healthy as well, and some of those younger guys continue to hit, hopefully get Costas back sometime in July. I think they're going to still hang around, and the pitching's been good. They have the most errors in the league right now with 50, but they can kind of clean that up. They're 5 games under 500 at home. They're playing better on the road. They're 19-15 on the road this year. So they start playing better at Fenway too. I could see this team sneaking a wild card. It's just the baseball right now. It's just it's just bad. It's just besides a couple other teams, some of the teams are either so bad or just so mediocre.
Yeah, but my problem is the schedule. The schedule they have until the trade deadline. You got 2 more games with the Phillies this week. You got 9 games with the Yankees. 9 games with the Yankees, and then 6 of them in the Bronx. I know they play better on the road, but 6 of them in the Bronx. They still have to go out to LA too. They still got a series with Kansas City. The schedule I don't think the schedule. I think they're going to be, they're going to be, 5-6 games under 500, probably 5-6 games out of that last wild card spot. And I don't know who they're going to be able to sell. That's going to be the thing. Who are they really going to? Maybe Jansen. That's pretty much it. Who they're going to really be able to sell. But
O'Neal.
Tommy O'Neal. That's a good one.
I think he's a free. I think he's
Tommy O'Neal's got some power. Yeah, he's got some power. So, but I just don't. I don't think they're going to be there. I really don't. I think it'd be 5-6 games out of that wild card spot. With they have to leap over 4 or 5 teams, and I think they're going to be a seller come July 31st.
Yeah, that could totally happen with that schedule. Yeah, that schedule's tough. Yeah, month of July, you better beat up on the Rock. You got the Rockies 3 times, you got the A's 3 times, you got the Marlins 3 times. You better win 7 of those games to kind of help out. You got the Mariners still too, which I think they did get them early on in the year, first week of the year. So yeah, that schedule's brutal. That's gonna be a tough one. But yeah, the starting pitching keep up what they're doing. They kind of keep them some games and hope the offense can do enough and score enough runs. But yeah, it's definitely a tough schedule. But with how mediocre baseball is, I would not be shocked to just see them just hang around for a while. Just because I don't know, because I don't know how many teams are going to be buyers because they're just going to try to sell their fans. Well, we just missed a wild card spot at the end of the year, So I think adding a third wild card is kind of been bad for the sport because you're just seeing all these teams not really trying to buy and they just sneak in and they do what Arizona did last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing is if you sneak in, you could do what Arizona did, and you got a good point. They got a good manager, a really good manager in Alex Cora. You wouldn't be shocked. I just think the schedule and the talent level on this team, I just don't see them being in it late in July. The key to the Red Sox, we said earlier in the year, was can they be in it at the trade deadline where they can add? I just think they've been kind of playing mediocre baseball. Schedule's now getting tougher for them. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And now I wouldn't be surprised because of the manager they have. I think the manager is one of the top managers in the game, but I just don't see it because of the talent level on the field.
Yeah, the talent's not great. They, a lot of injuries to the pitching staff, and losing Casas and Tyler O'Neal's been out of the lineup, and Andrew Bailey, too, the new pitching coach, he's done an excellent job. He deserves a lot of kudos for the way he's really developed his pitching staff. The last year was not great. The last couple of years really hasn't been great. He's done an unbelievable job. But this roster right now, just guys haven't been able to stay in and out of the lineup. Giolito out for the year. Chris Martin's kind of on leave right now, dealing with some personal things. So you don't have a Liam Hendricks. So there's just a lot of injuries, guys off the field right now. So you can get a couple of guys back, maybe they hang around. But yeah, it's gonna be really, really tough for them to do that.
It definitely will. It definitely will. We'll see what happens with the Red Sox, but we got to shift over to the Stanley. We got to move on to the Stanley Cup Final, where the Panthers lead the Oilers 2-0. And the biggest thing here, the big question is should Draisaitl be suspended for the hit he had on Barkov on Monday night?
I think he probably deserves one, but I don't think he's gonna get one. It doesn't sound like he's gonna get one. Especially too because that's their second best player, and
now, of course the league. I think the league's involved there. I think the league's involved there. They need people to watch this thing, and if Draisaitl's out, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, just like the Embiid one with the Knicks. He should have been suspended on his on stomping on Robinson. It's the same thing. So these leagues are gonna make these series somewhat competitive, and so I don't think you're gonna see a suspension from Draisaitl. He deserves one, yes, because you can't go up with your elbow like that up at the head. So usually that would be a penalty or be a suspension, but I don't think so in this case. Just because of the statue that Leon Draisaitl has.
Yeah, exactly. Now, sticking with the Oilers, down 0-2, going home to Edmonton, what do Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and the Oilers have to do to get back into the series?
They got to find their game. Their game is speed, and Florida what we've been talking about the last, this series, what they, the Ranger series, they just muck it up. They've played their style. The Panthers have, and Edmonton's got to find their way to just find their speed. Get Draisaitl and McDavid going. Like game one, they played really well 5-on-5. They just couldn't find, couldn't get a shot past Bobrovsky, unfortunately. So that's the first one. My second one is Skinner. He will not. He won't win you a game, but he cannot lose you one. And game one, I thought the first goal he allowed in could have been stopped, but again, if you don't score any goals, it's pretty tough for a guy like Skinner to keep that thing 0-0 for too long. So Skinner's got to, not going to win you one, but he just cannot be bad and totally just lose you a game, especially down 2-0. And number three for them, because they have struggled, especially in game two mostly, they got to find a way to score in the power play. You just got to find a one-man advantage. You got to find a way to just put one in the back of the net. You got to get that power play going, maybe getting a goal there. Maybe it kind of gives you a little bit of confidence because at a point, you start to get really frustrated facing a goalie, and then you tend to maybe you go hit a goalie late. You'll go give him the love tap with the stick, and then it starts something, like another period or two, them really struggling to get something going on Bobrovsky. You tend maybe to get a little frustrated. So then you get one going behind them. Maybe it starts to open some things up for them. So those are three things: power play, goaltending, and then just trying to find their game.
For the Panthers to win their first Stanley Cup, they were 0-2 in their first try, 96, and then last year. What do they have to do to close this thing out and get their first Stanley Cup in franchise history?
Jump on them early, like they have, and like they have all playoffs long. And for the regular season, when they're leading going into the third period, they're 40-0-2, I believe it is, or 0-3. So 40-0-3. So for the Panthers, they've just been so good, and just the way they play with the forward checking, they just wear opponents down, and they've done a really good job in this series as well. So for them, just continue to jump on them early. And number two is Bobrovsky. He's played really well in this series. First the goal he gave up game one. It was from the red line, but there's nobody in front of him, but he got a piece of it, just not enough to fully stop it. But I assume you're going to get the desperation effort from Edmonton in game three. So you might face a flurry of shots in this one. You got to be on top of the game. And Bobrovsky, the way he's been playing, Florida's so spread out goal scoring wise that he might get the Conn Smythe. I think it's a real shot that he's going to get it. So, and he would deserve it. So for him to way he's been playing, definitely going to be the front runner. Then number three is the top two lines of the Panthers outplay the top two lines of the Oilers so far. Rodriguez, he's got 3 goals so far in this series. Benjer's got a goal as well. So the Florida top couple lines have outplayed Edmonton's top lines, and if you could slow those two lines down of the Oilers, you're going to be in great shape, because the line 3 and 4, the depth just isn't as good as it is with the Florida Panthers, where they do have 12 guy forwards that can score on you, where Edmonton does not have it in that case. And you shut down the top 6 like the Panthers have done to the Oilers, you should win those games most of those nights.
You brought up the depth of the Panthers, and they also got the experience being in the finals last year, and that's been beneficial to them. I think the experience has been beneficial, and the depth, and that's why I think the Panthers now win this series. I think they win it in 5 or 6. I could see it being over in 5. I'm going to give McDavid a couple games. I'm going to give him 6. I think the Panthers win it in 6, because here's the thing about the Panthers. I think they take a couple in Edmonton because they played so well on the road throughout the postseason. They won 2 games at Madison Square Garden. They won 3 games in Boston. And they're just the more experienced team. They're the more experienced team. They play well on the road. And you talked about the Panthers jumping out on teams early. They did that to the Rangers in game 1 and in game 6, the key games in the Eastern Conference Final. And I think that was the biggest reason they won. So yeah, the Panthers jumping out early. They got the experience, and they're the better team. I think they win the series in 6. I'm gonna change my prediction. I said the Oilers because of the star power of McDavid and Draisaitl, but in hockey, great teams beat star power. It's kind of the opposite of the NBA. Now, this year is kind of an outlier, but usually the superstar beats the overall team in the NBA. But in hockey, I feel like it's always been a constant hockey. The overall team beats the superstars.
Yep. Yeah, you're completely right. That's usually how it goes in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's why I like it, because you get more randomness. You get that. You get the hot goaltender that just is an absolute brick wall in net and can steal you a series. So, yeah, for the Oilers, it hasn't been enough. Chris Knoblauch's done a really good job of making them a little bit better on the defensive side of the puck. That's where they've really struggled the last couple of years in the playoffs, and they're going to have another shot as Oilers. But yeah, again, Florida with their experience last year, they had so many guys injured. That's why the Vegas just won that thing of 5. Florida just had nothing left in the tank with all the injuries they had. And yeah, this year they're really this Florida team, and I think I said it last week. There's a couple of these guys too, they're top players, I believe are going to be free agents too. So this is kind of like the last chance. And I think Florida's going to have a tough time keeping them all. I know the cap's going to go up to 88 million, but I'm not sure what their total cap situation is right now, the Panthers. So this is kind of the last shot here. And Florida's really taking complete advantage of it. And Paul Maurice has done a really good job with this team. And maybe, I'd be interested to see how much it helps like hockey in general that like these Florida, like the Tampa Bay and Florida, they've represented these different kinds the last 5 years. Like I wonder if there's an uptick in Florida hockey because these two teams are so good. So it seems like they're into it down there, but it's probably tough though because finding too many rinks down there that have places to play. But maybe it's good for the sport.
Yeah, it helps. I think it helps support a little bit that the Florida teams are pretty good. It makes it more of a it makes it more of a nationwide sport that the Florida teams are good. And the interesting thing about Maurice was he was the first head coach. He was the last head coach of the Hartford Wolfpack. And this is a funny stat. Guess who he beat? No. I thought it was the Panthers. It was the Lightning, but still, Maurice, last coach of the Hartford Whalers, could get his first Stanley Cup. He's got two wins for his first Stanley Cup as a head coach.
Yeah. He's done a pretty good job, and I think he came after they had Quinville too, like that whole situation too. So, because I don't think he was the interim, and I think he got the job like after that whatever season it was. I think it was in 18 or 19. So, yeah, he's come in the Florida, and he's done a really terrific job. And yeah, 2 years ago they won the President's Cup, Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay got them. I think they swept them, and then since then they've been on a roll.
I think what turned around was upsetting the Bruins last year. But the Bruins had that historic season. They barely got in. They upset the Bruins, and I think that's been the turning point. Yeah,
it has. Yeah, they were down 3-1 that year too, and I think it was just the light bulb went off, the confidence went off, and they've been rolling ever since, and they've been besides that Vegas series last year, when they've had their full complement of guys, they've just been a tough team to play, and they're just physicality. They just it's just tough to match it, and Edmonton's learning that. We really found that out with the Rangers too. This Florida team they're just tough, and they're just they got the culture in that locker room.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up talking about Tom Brady tonight going into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and got to give the Patriots a ton of credit for this. They waived that stupid 4-year rule. I love the fact they waived that stupid 4-year rule to let Brady go in a year after he retired. That's great. Be progressive. I really give the Patriots credit for being progressive here, letting Brady have his night. Because Tom Brady, the greatest player in NFL history, waiting 4 years to get into a team Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
good move by the Patriots to let Brady to waive that 4-year and let Brady get in. And it looks like Bill Belichick is going to be there to see Brady get into the Hall of Fame. And this has probably been his first time back into Foxborough, and I don't know how many more trips he's going to be back. More times he'll be back in Foxborough. Probably at his Hall of Fame, his Hall of Fame ceremony when he retires.
Yeah, definitely. Belichick's will be interesting too if they give him. I would hope that he gets a less than 4 years as well here.
Here's the thing with Belichick. I think he'll get less than 4, but it's not going to be immediate because probably to that organization. Let me tell you, that organization and to Bob Kraft. Tom Brady definitely means more.
Oh yeah, those two have Kraft and Brady have a very special relationship. So I'm glad they waived it. Weird they're doing it in Game 3 because there's always that chance if the Celtics are going to be in it. But
the ceremony's at 7. The Celtics are on the road, so people will be able to watch the ceremony before the game.
Yeah. I think they might. I wonder if they're. Again, I wouldn't be shocked that you could watch if they're keeping Gillette open. You can watch it on the jumbotron out there.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure, but good. It's good to see Brady get up there. Yeah, glad they did waive the 4-year thing here with them, but glad they're kind of doing it. with the time, it should be a special night up there. And it's crazy he's going up there, and he could still probably be our number one quarterback next year.
That's crazy to think of. That's crazy to think of.
Yeah, it's crazy, but glad it'll be a very celebratory night, and with a lot of memories up in Foxborough tonight.
It definitely will be. It absolutely will. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and the Yankees' huge series against the Orioles in the Bronx. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.